guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Valentine Lister, and this is my series on the minor arcana for the suit of Pentacles. We're getting into the Pentacles. Today we're going to cover the Ace of Pentacles, and we're going to go into the secret symbolism in this card, everything you need to know about it, the astrological correspondence, the numerology, as well as the upright and the reversed meanings. All right, so if you don't know me yet, my name is Valentine Lister, and I'm an astrologer and tarot card reader, and I also like to consider myself a YouTuber. I love making videos on tarot and astrology and other spiritual practices that I found out about, done, tried, I want to share with you. So if you want to find more information about me, you can go to valentinelister.com if you want to know more about like what I do and who I am. All right, so let's get into the Ace of Pentacles. Okay, so the Ace of Pentacles, so like all the other cards, I gave this card a nickname to introduce you to it, help you to get to know it, and I like to call this card an investment. Okay, I'm going to get right into the rulers of this card, which ties into the astrology. And this is super simple because it's not associated with any like specific planet or zodiac sign, but it's associated with the entire season of spring. And it can be thought of as the beginning of spring, when the earth starts to grow again, things start to come alive again, they're ready to grow, and we can start planting seeds. And that's a lot of what this card is about. Also, remember that with the suit of Pentacles, and with this card, it represents the elements of earth. So that means like the physical world, things we can like sense with the five senses, right? And it can also relate to security, finances, property, money, job, health, and your body, things along those lines. Okay, getting into the hidden symbolism of this card. So first of all, I talked about this card as a seed. And so that's very much what this card is about. We see this garden growing, and we think of this card as the beginning of spring, where the earth comes alive again. Starts to get a little bit warmer, still may be windy and rainy, but the earth is ripe for us to actually plant seeds, and we just start seeing things grow from the earth, and we start to feel alive again. And in the beginning of spring, not everything is growing, right? We only see like little buds here and there. It's just the promise of growth. It's the promise of new life, and really feeling like renewed and restored by the physical things in life. Like the plants, and we see the animals come out, and we start to feel alive. And that ties into the meaning of this card and the symbolism as well, how earth gives us life, like the things of the earth are life-giving, and they could be life-taking too. So as far as the symbolism, the first thing I notice right away is this giant gold coin right here. It's called a pentacle in the center, and it's being held by this hand. It's big and bright and sunny, and as we know from past cards, the sun represents the soul and eternal light. So the pentacle represents, like in this card, it represents like the soul, the physical light in the earthly realm, and actually like the very physical earth that beams down, and it physically nurtures a life, right? Because with plants and with us, even animals, right, we need light, we need the sun in order to grow and stay healthy. Like even besides plants, even people, right, you're not going to get enough vitamin D if you're not out in the sun a lot. And a lot of us, like at least in the US, we have to take vitamin D because vitamin D levels are super low. Maybe because we're home too often, we're like in front of our computers, we're staying inside. So that's why also, if you want to feel better physically, like your body, you can go out into the sun, just like the plants. Okay. And so as far as the pentacle, so the pentacle here goes back to ancient Mesopotamia, and it was used like, from them. So we're talking about like thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. And in ancient times, it was believed that everything in the natural world had a spirit and was alive, right? It wasn't just people that were alive. Those plants, those trees all had spirits, because the ancient myths of all cultures spoke about deities, spirits, gods in stories, right? Myths. And often by the end of the story, what that god or spirit, like they tell a love story, or they tell about two deities or people, or yeah, even people were turned into trees and stuff. And like they could get into fights or whatever story it was. They'd create this elaborate story. Usually it was pretty gruesome and, you know, really gets you to pay attention to the story, right? And life can be pretty gruesome. But by the end of the story, they were often like turned into like a tree or a star or a flower or a river or whatever, something in nature. Like me and my husband were reading Greek myths and we keep laughing because most of it, like the end of the story is, and they turned them into a tree. And we're like, what is that about? But anyway, so basically what was happening, why they're turning people into trees or, you know, rivers or whatever, is that the ancient people felt like nature was alive, and there was no separation between the physical and spiritual. The physical and spiritual and spirit was the same. There was no separation. That separation didn't exist. The earth was very magical. And even we see in those stories, we see life and spirits and deities being attributed to things like the sunrise or the sunset, or the seasons. And I can tell you, after reading myths, which I definitely encourage you guys to do, it's super meaningful and super fun. I go out in nature walks and I actually see life in what I'm looking at. I remember the story and I see that tree or the stars or the sunset or sunrise as alive. And you can see that integration between spirit and matter. So a little bit more about the pentacle, because that's the main symbol in this card and the main symbol for, you know, the suit of pentacles. So you want to know what a pentacle is that, so the pentacle represents the elements in the natural world. So let me also break this down, that the actual star in the center is a pentagram. And then because it has a circle around it, that a five-pointed star that's upright that has a circle around it is called a pentacle. And so the meanings of the pentagram, so I'll get into the meaning of the actual like pentagram, the star. The meanings vary since this symbol was used in many different cultures since ancient Mesopotamia. It was used in so many different cultures. But basically, the most common meanings that this was associated was with the five senses. In every culture, it was related to something physical. So it could be like the five senses. Even in Christianity, it was associated with the five like injuries, like where like Jesus drew blood, but telling you very like it has a very physical and even kind of dark sense, right? Things on earth do die, so there is like this gruesomeness to it as well. It's also been, I believe, associated with the Chinese five elements, and in modern day, most of the time, and specifically with tarot, it's associated with the four physical elements and spirit. So earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. And you can kind of look at this, the star as these 2 points on the bottom are legs, and these 2 points on the sides are arms. And there's a point on the top that's a head. And so you can think of this as a person because it relates to the physical body and physical things in nature. So I kind of like that like imagery too. And then remember how I said it's a pentacle because it has a circle around it. So with pentacles, pentacles throughout history were used as a symbol of protection, and they were looked at something as divine, or even if you're using magic, like white magic, something that was like pure spirited, divine, really beneficent. So like a symbol to protect life. Because as we know, the thing about things on earth is that there's nature, right? Things come alive and things die. So the pentacles also speak to the cycles of physical life and physical nature. And so getting a little bit more into the symbolism before we go into the meanings, this pentacle is held by the hand of God, as in all of the ace cards. And it's held by the pure white hand of God and is surrounded by the gray clouds of wisdom. So in this card, the divine is giving us something that's physical and it's full of life. And it's something we need to nurture and grow, like a seed growing into this garden down below. We're being given a seed. So it's super exciting, right? Like when spring starts, it's super exciting. But if you grow a garden, that means your work is starting, right? If you're planting that seed, whatever it is, and we're not even talking about like a garden seed, right? You could be given money. You could have a child, right? You could get pregnant, something like that. Or, you know, you could buy a home, something like that. It's super exciting. This like element of physical life that creates security and connectedness and love. But we're gonna have to take care of it. Like it's like also starting a new job. Like it's great, you're excited you got the job, but then you actually have to work, and that's what this card also represents. And then also below we have this like lush green healing garden that's very life-giving. And again, it just represents like, this is so beautiful, but it's not going to last forever. We have to really tend to and take care of this garden. As anybody who has taken care of any gardens knows, it is a lot of work. But if we do tend to this and nurture this seed and just immerse ourselves into nurturing it and helping it grow, and just get into that, like that very mindful action where we're not like, I don't want to do this, right? We just focus on taking care of it because it needs to be taken care of, and immerse ourselves in it as if it is a divine action, as if it is something that is super sacred. And it is. Taking care of physical things is super sacred. And if we're in that mindset, we have these like pure white lilies that symbolize like this purity of intention. And then if we walk that path, we have the mountains in the back that represent thinking clearly, mental serenity and clarity through our physical work and our physical action, which reminds me of when I used to volunteer in the church a long time ago. And like when I met the monks and the nuns and the priests, they would all talk about like the sanctity of, you know, washing dishes. Washing dishes is one of those mindfulness things. And if you practice mindfulness, you know, you could also relate to this. But just the mindful practice of just washing dishes and just being present with that act and really being present with it. So this card is also calling us to be present with what we're taking care of. And that's how we get the clarity and serenity. And then, you know, this life grows. Okay, so moving on, we're getting, oh, and also I just wanted to mention before I get started with the numerology, is that with the, like the tarot symbolism and how it's associated with the seasons and the zodiac signs. I actually have a handout that lists everything out for you, which cards go with which like zodiac signs and planets and elements for you. That's called the Tarot and Astrology Cheat Sheet. And I have the link to that in the description box below so you can snag it. Okay, glad I remembered that. I forgot. So numerology, this card is associated with the number 1, which represents manifestation, creation, and action. Okay, so the upright meaning of this card, let's get to it. Okay, so as I mentioned before, you're being given something to take care of if you get this card upright. Or someone's helping you out with like a physical resource or practical action. So could be something really exciting like getting a bank loan for a business or a home, being given a fancy gift, getting pregnant, starting a new job, things like that. But more often than not, like my experience with getting this card and what I've seen, it's usually associated with something like really mundane and everyday. You know, so that could be related to your body, health, job. I'm going to give you some examples, like also associated with your house, the people or animals you take care of. But even with these mundane things, if you take it as a gift and immerse yourself in taking care of what it is, and just being present with that, it will grow and you'll find joy in taking care of it. And later on, long time later, you'll reap the fruits of your labor at the later point, because Earth takes a lot of time to grow and develop. It's not quick like an idea or thought, or it's not like an inspiration where you just act on it. Things that are physical take a long time to grow. So later on, you'll be like, damn, I'm glad I took care of that. So, you know, it's a seed. It's a seed that you nurture and grow and take care of. So let me get to the examples that I experienced from my tarot journal, and what I've seen when I pull this card. So my daughter made me breakfast. That's like damn good. Okay. And that was actually from nurturing a seed. She's my daughter. She's 9. But being given breakfast by my daughter, that was super cool. Didn't have to make it. I think she made a smoothie or like fruit salad for everybody, but she's actually getting good at cooking, like, which is awesome. Okay. The next thing, was a plank of wood fell on my daughter's foot, and I had to take care of her, right? So it's somebody I had to nurture and grow. My daughter, she gets a boo-boo. I got to take care of it. But, you know, we get snuggles later, and later on we'll look back at that and be like, oh my God, can't believe that happened. Remember that. And I'll probably cry about it because they're all grown. Another example, super mundane, not fancy. My face broke out into acne, and I had to figure out like if it was the soap I was using or what was happening, figure out what was going on with my body. Like my menstrual cycle was all funky, but then it actually worked out and like normalized. And so even the cycles of a woman's body is related to the pentacles, related to the moon, related to the earth element. Okay, so the last example, you guys who are prepare for Mercury retrogrades, you're paying attention. I knew a retrograde was coming, a Mercury retrograde, so I finished up my videos before, as many, you know, throughout like the next couple weeks, paid bills, had my daughters finish up like a project for homework before that retrograde hit. So taking care of things, and I was definitely grateful later on that I did that. I didn't have to worry about as many like things glitching and whatnot. So a lot of these examples, again, not very glamorous, but everyday things that will probably be meaningful when I look back on them, like the joy of raising my daughters, the joy of working on tasks like for this channel or my business, and my spiritual practice, like things that I really do find joy in, but it's not like super exciting. Also with that tarot journal, you guys, if you want to remember the cards, please start a journal. And even if you want to learn astrology, like anything, you journal about what happens on the day. Or if you already keep a journal, just write what card you got that day. That's all you have to do. And I do have a video to give you some guidance on how to get started. If you need, you know, some advice, I'll put that link right up here. And now let me get on to the reversed meaning. So if you get this card reversed, the energy is being blocked or avoided. That's all reversals. The energy is not coming through. Could be for a good reason, you know, could be destructive, whatever, but that's the deal. So basically, if it's reversed, you threw that seed in the garbage. You do not want to take care of it. You do not want to take care of that like physical or practical thing. It could be that you can't take care, you just can't take on anything else, like physically, you just can't physically do it. Like you're exhausted, like your body, your mind too is like exhausted, or you just don't want to. You're just like, I'm not feeling it. I just don't think it's the right time. Like it could be that the timing or the opportunity just isn't right. Or that the thing that you want to nurture and take care of won't grow. So it's like, you know, it could be like an investment that won't grow, or something that, you know, you have a feeling of like, I don't think this is a good idea to invest, or the cards may be giving you advice like, hold off on this. This is not something that is going to grow. And it could be like mundane things, right? Like getting asked to stay late at a job, but you're just so physically exhausted and you say no, like things like that. It could be just normal. There's many different scenarios, right? Or not having the tools you need to actually like physically fix something or do something. It could be something like related, right? I said with the cycles. So like, it could be like, you know, like you're trying to get pregnant and you get a negative pregnancy test, or like you didn't want to get pregnant and you're jumping with joy because it's, you know, negative. Something along the lines of that, where it's like, the thing is either not growing, not going to grow, or like you just don't want to like take on anything else. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this video on the Ace of Pentacles. If you like this video, this is a quick reminder to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified for whenever I release a new video. I'll be releasing the Two of Pentacles next in this series, but I also in between do a weekly tarot and astrology and tarot forecast every single Sunday. Also, if you found value in this video, if you like any of my videos, make sure to share them out. That really helps out my channel, helps people to find my content. I get a lot of awesome, wonderful comments from you guys saying how like you want my videos to get more views, and the way that you do that is you tell people about my channel and they'll come and they'll see for themselves if they like me or not, which is up to them. Also, if you want to catch up on the videos that I've already done, I'm going to put a Minor Arcana playlist right here, as well as a related video that I think you'll want to watch next in this series right up here. All right, I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you soon. Bye. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified for whenever I release a new video every single week.